Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Evolution League Racing. We've got round number 6 today for the British Grand Prix. Was originally scheduled to be Bahrain, but due to some problems with, there's a bit of an issue at Bahrain, so we can't be racing there. And all that's ended up is that we're racing at Silverstone, so there are definitely worse scenarios we could have seen ourselves facing. We've got Spitfire Boy, first driver out in this qualifying session, just taking us around the corner, turn 13 of Chapel, and onto the Hangar Straight. Obviously, we saw the British Grand Prix in real life just last weekend. And Spitfire Boy was one of a couple of drivers that, a couple of our drivers that was there. He was, he sent us a couple of photos. I believe he was down on the exit. Oh, he wasn't on the exit. He was sort of around Cox, that sort of area. It's nice to see that these drivers do exist outside of just these little Friday evenings. Spitfire Boy, though, comes around the final corner to begin what is the first run of qualifying tonight, taking us into turn number 1, a little bit wide of the apex, but again, in a flat-out corner, it doesn't make all the world of difference. Going to get it stopped for this sort of section round the loop, then round Aintree, and on to the Wellington Straight, where there's DRS for the first time. We raced here in pre-season, but in a slightly different alteration, going in reverse. Obviously, that had no DRS down the Wellington Straight in reverse. It's instead on the old pit straight, but running it forwards, it does have the normal DRS zones as the same as real life Formula 1. So he heads his way down into turn number 9, into turn number 9 of Copse Corner. It's completely flat out in these modern Formula 1 cars. Then he's going into Maggots, followed by Beckett's, and then he's got the right-hander of Chapel, where it's quite a tricky corner, even though you don't really need to brake on the game. You can still feel a little bit clumsy. Spitfire was round to Battery, going into Stowe, which is definitely going to cost him for the remainder of the lap. Running out of battery costs you so much acceleration, especially because you effectively just turn it into none for the last few corners. So there's going to be lots of time to be found in this lap from Spitfire Boy, but let's see what he can do. So 128.338. He's going to need to get out of the way of the Ferrari behind him. EJ does a 27.8. Spitfire does get off the racing line to let the cars behind go past. Now I believe we have the Alpine. Off body drop across the line for 126.506 as a first run we'll see from the Alpine driver. 27.3 from Mitsubishi and 126.3 from R34, who goes top. Closely followed, exactly half a tenth behind by Dan. Now you got Fuzzle coming around the last corner. He's out of battery as well. It's a 26.9 to go up into P4. Magic can only manage to 27.7. And there's Dom around the final corner. He hasn't validated the lap. It's a 26.7. Would have put him in P4 had he concluded the run, but you can't guarantee that you don't know how much time you will have gained from that track limits extension. Then we got Lim Wilder coming around the last corner. He invalidates as well on a 27.2. Would have put him in fifth place, just behind Fuzzle. Lim Wilder Lim Wilder, who won the previous 2 races in succession. Then we got Claudio coming around the last corner as well, and he goes up into P6 with a 127.466. Spitfire Boy's going again, starting his second run. He's followed by his teammate EJ, who also is just starting a second run. So both drivers fueled up for multiple runs, which would explain possibly the slightly slower first lap times. It is a bit of a shame that we don't get to race in Bahrain, but it's not the end of the world. You know, we've got alternative circuits on the game, and it's just as well we discovered the bug before having to drive there. Mr. Business is just going again as well. I'd imagine Lynn Wilder is doing, and he's not currently on a lap. He's going to be into the pit lane. So Lynn Wilder's going to end his first run empty-handed, but we saw around where he could be. So there's a bit of congestion in the pit lane of just drivers coming back in. But with 11 minutes to... What did I just say? Limits. With 11 minutes to go in the session, that's not going to affect anything too much. But I don't think we're going to be seeing 3 runs in the session. I think it will be just the 2. Only short qualifying, because just due to the numbers, 16 tonight. We need at least 17 actively taking part in qualifying, so we would have needed 2 more. Spitfire Boy across the line. It's a 4/10 improvement, but it can only jump him up 1 position. EJ follows him as well. I don't think he improved on his personal best, and it's 9th and 10th for the 2 Kicks Albers. Mr. Business, half second up, going through, or going down the hangar straight. Going to take us into Stowe now. Not fully committing at this stage, with still a decent sized break. Getting it stopped, going into the Vale chicane. It takes it rotated through 16, into 17, and blasting across the line. 5-0 for the championship leader. It's getting a lot closer at the top now. With these drivers going out at the time that they are, I assume that means they're going for the 3 runs. The gap at the top of the championship down to just 12 points after Liam Wilder's 2 wins in a row. After 5 races, only the top 3 have won so far. Oh, I've just seen the championship. Dan's in 4th place on 29 points. It's a 50-point gap from 3rd to 4th in this championship. Wow. But so, everyone pretty much going out for a second set of runs. We got Rocky just starting his first run now, as he couldn't complete that initial run due to invalidating the lap. He takes us through the village section and round the loop of turn number 4, back on the power, and taking us onto the Wellington Straight. There used to be the bump here on the right hand side on F124. That's gone now, but still, I don't know what I'm saying at this point. He takes it through Brooklands into Luffield. I don't know if I'm lagging or if he is. I think I fixed the issues I was having last week due to just restarting my router, but we'll just have to see. Rocky takes us through Copse Corner turn number 9 and into the legendary Maggis and Beckett's complex. Takes it through 1, 2, then a 3rd flick, and finally a 4th. To the right, there's a little curve as he goes on to the straight, and we see it's a 103.0 in those first 2 sectors. Rocky taking us now down into Stowe, or possibly up into Stowe, over a slight crescent, and then it's round at high speed as well. 6th gear, but he's gone too wide. Invalidated the lap, and still is going to be left empty-handed after 2 separate runs. Polytron coming into the final chicane, going to look to find those 2 tenths to take him up to the top of the timings as he rounds the final corner of Club. Across the line he goes. He does go fastest with a 3.5 tenth improvement to 126.147. And Dan's coming back into the pit lane. So he's down on his personal best through those first couple of sectors. Fosland P5 has invalidated his lap. R34 goes wide. Keeps it within the white line. Keeps it valid. But bails for the pit lane. And we've seen a lot of these second 6.675. Another driver not to complete his first run was on. But it's only 27.0 for the Alpine. And he's going to stay in that P7 for the time being. As Claudio comes around the final corner to start his second run of the session. Cookface getting it stopped for the Vale chicane. 4 tenths up on his personal best. Down in a lowly 28 dead. Footface across the line. It's a 4 tenth improvement. And up into P9 with a 127.6. So pretty much match what Dr. Gray did there. So that's Magic just coming around the final corner. 4 tenths up as well. Improves up into P8 with a 127.0. Matches Om's time pretty nicely. Can Claudio find those 4 tenths to get it himself up into this little mini battle for possibly 6th place if they can get the runs together? But I reckon with a clean run, Fuzzle should be in that 6th place. But we'll have to see. As he takes it through Cop's corner and into Maggots and Beckett's. There's an Alpine ahead of him who's going to hope gets out of the way. He does so nicely. That was Om getting out of the way through Beckett's into Chapel for the Ferrari. Going to get back on the power. DRS active, blasting down the hanger straight with a lot of battery to spare. He's down on his time though. And I think he's backed off the run there. Although it seems still to be pushing through Stowe. Coming around. No, he is. Indeed coming into the pit lane. I was correct on the first occasion. He seemed to be taking Stowe at quite a high speed. But that's just getting back to the pit lane as soon as possible. As Rocky's coming around the last chicane. Obviously he has... he's yet to set a time as he goes into turn number 1. There's a Red Bull of Dr. Gray who jumps up into P9 with a 3/10 improvement to go 227.3. It's actually boiling here in the UK. It's 30 degrees or something. That's just too hot. Honestly. 30 degrees on holiday feels about 20 here. But Rocky, taking us through turn number 7 of Luffield. Then on to the old pit straight, past the old pit lane. And on the run, all the way down to Cops. Goes up into 8th gear. I think it is faster to stay down in 7th. At least it was on the previous game. Used a little bit of battery going into Maggots and Beckett's. Again, I think it's faster to go down into medium through this section. But he's going to get it rotated through Chapel. Going to get back on the power as well with the DRS. And we see it's 1:030 to pretty much match what he's done on the last couple of attempts. But this time he's going to hope to keep it within the white lines, as he's still yet to set a valid time in this session. Nice. Is Rocky ever going to set a lap? That's the 3rd run he's done, and the 3rd time he's failed. Dr. Gray coming into the pit lane as well. And Dan is currently on a lap, going into not into Cops, into Stowe. And he is going to come to the end of the run, cross the line, as he takes it through the Vale chicane, back on the power, round the last corner of Club. And he goes fastest with a 4/10 improvement, 4.5 to go as the first driver into the 125. So 125.911. But he doesn't have the fuel to go again. That will be Dan's final run of the session. He's not going to set anything further, as he doesn't have the fuel to go again. That will be the last we see of Dan in this qualifying session. So that 25.9 is going to remain as the benchmark, and it's going to remain as Dan's personal best time. Antonio there is just invalidated through Sector 1 and goes very wide off the road through Brooklands. Surely, I'd imagine, is going to back off and save some battery, but he doesn't seem to be doing so. Is currently quite a long way off the pace. And, oh, Polytrom's just, okay, that's desync again. Good to know that it's back. And Antonio's just not going to be able to set a time because he's used all his battery in his out lap. He's just got nothing left going on to his final run, so he's going to have absolutely nothing. Spitfire Boy is on a lap going through the first sector. There's quite a lot of traffic up ahead of him, so he's going to need to be a little bit cautious of that, where he ends up overtaking them. Obviously, he doesn't have much choice in the matter, but I'm sure he'd rather pass them on the straight if possible. Going on to the Wellington straight, he's going to hope they do all stay to that left-hand side. He's not quite catching them quite enough. He's a 10th up on his personal best through that first sector. Takes us through Brooklands into Luffield. From about this distance, you can start to feel the dirty air. I'm just wondering if he is. Takes us through. The exit of Luffield is... I think he feels there that he got impeded. EJ's retired from the session. He's not been able to go out in time. I imagine Spitfire feels that in that situation he was impeded. The Ferrari was on the racing line, but I think he did have enough space to avoid him. I'm not sure. That one will most likely end up going to the stewards as Liam Wilder and Polydrop set off on their final runs. 2nd and 4th at the moment in the session. Polydrop needs 2.5 tenths if he wants to take pole position away from Dan. With a 25.9, the lap time to beat. Polydrop through sector 1 is a tiny bit up on his personal best. About half a tenth is how much he's improving by as he goes into Brooklands, followed by Luffield. Back on the power as soon as he can. Goes to full throttle on the exit for the run down the old pit straight and in towards Copse Corner. He needs 2 tenths if he wants 2 and a bit tenths if he wants to improve upon the time set by Dan. He's going to want a bit more than that if he wants to make it safely to stay fastest as the other drivers all set their times. Polydrop takes us through. Magnussen Beckett's into Chapel and onto the hangar straight. The checker flag's fallen. Polydrop's 2.5 tenths up, which is more than he needs if he wants to take that pole away. But will it be safe? Liam Wilder behind, half a tenth up. Not going to be enough for him to jump up any positions as the Alpine takes us through into the Vale chicane, going to get it stopped and trying to just accelerate out of that final corner as soon as possible. A little bit of a slide, but the run up to the line, he does go fastest with a close to 3/10 improvement. Liam Wilder behind. I don't imagine we'll have enough to go faster. He finds 2 tenths in his lap, but he can't improve. Mr. Business is down through those first couple of sections. We've got Magic coming across the line, 3 tenths up. Improves up to P5 ahead of his teammate, and that's a very solid lap indeed. Dr. Gray can't jump up any positions. What can Rocky do on his first completed run of the qualifying session? It's P7 for the McLaren reserve driver. Coming through the final couple of corners. He's half a second up on his personal best. Could send him right up to the top 5. And he can go into that P5. Can Mr. Business knock him out? Yes, he can. Mr. Business goes P5. Om's going to stay P6. And Fuzzle is still on an outlap, apparently, which doesn't seem quite right. But he's invalidated his time, and he's not going to set one. And he's going to be 9th for the Racing Bulls driver. Polydrop takes pole, and the additional point along with it. Dan 2nd place, R34 in 3rd. Found a couple of tenths, but it wasn't enough. With Liam Wilder in 4th, Mr. Business in 5th, narrowly beating Om. In 6th place, Magic 7th, Rocky 8th, Fuzzle 9th, and Claudio in 10th. But that's qualifying done. And we await the British Grand Prix. Poitron versus Dan on the front row. R34 and then Wilder 3rd and 4th. With Mr. Business in 5. Championship leader a little bit on the back foot. But we'll see how it goes in the British Grand Prix. What? No, it's not. And the formation lap gets underway in Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. Polytron and the entire top 10 with him have gone for the medium tyres. Dr. Gray on the hards, Cookface gone with the mediums, EJ's on the hards, and Spitfire Boy on the mediums. The Sauber splitting their strategies. Antonio's on the mediums. And Hearts in last place following a qualifying incident in the last race. He's starting on the hard tyres at the back of the field. Polytron leads them away on the formation lap, having already picked himself up a point in this race weekend. Although he is 20 points behind the championship lead, it looks to be a fight between Liam Wilder and Mr. Business for the... What am I saying? For the title fight. But now, they begin to line up on the starting grid. Polytron goes to his grid spot, lining up on that pole position place. He's got Dan pulling alongside him, and angled a little bit to that left-hand side, although I think that was just the way that it appeared. He doesn't actually seem to be that far to the side. Fuzzle has missed his grid spot, as has EJ and Magic. The last car of Hearts just lining up on the starting grid for the British Grand Prix can get underway. You can see the Red Bull there, angled aggressively towards the middle. But here we go to 5 red lights at the British Grand Prix. It's lights out, and away we go. Polytron does seem to have a pretty good start there, as he will lead them into that first corner. Dan tucks in behind with a half-second lead following that little bit of contact that there was. Don't know what Windows is beeping at me for. But Polytron leads. Dan in second place, R34 in third. Liam Wilder holding on to that fourth place. They all stay within the 1 second of one another, with Cookface just falling a little bit out, as has Antonio, who seems to have a little bit of front wing damage. Fuzzle getting quite a poor start there from ninth on the grid, has damage as well as he goes off that Cop's corner. With that front wing damage not helping at all with his front downforce, not to mention the dirty air. It looks like it's going to be a tough race for Fuzzle from here, but Dan in the slipstream, closing in on Polytron, but he's 6 tenths behind. He's not going to be able to make a move just yet. Mr. Business trying to have a look up the inside of Liam Wilder. The two separating the championship by 12 points. Antonio's retired on the circuit and is brought out a virtual safety car on lap 1 for Antonio's retirement on the hanger straight. Into the pit lane comes Fuzzle to serve or to change that front wing. But now we await when it goes green. They'll all be in DRS. They'll all be there. The DRS will be enabled as soon as they go green as well. You don't know from a commentator's perspective. Oh, Heart's just gone off there. What's going on here between Hearts and Spitfire Boy? I don't know. What is going on between these two? They're going so slowly. They've lost 7 seconds. One has an illegal overtake and the other doesn't want to pass. Hearts has now stopped to try and give the place back. They've all stopped. As we go green again, Polytron maintains that lead. Dr. Gray's now up into 10th place. I don't know what happened there. If they were all trying to give places back to each other, there's now a 12-second gap between them and all the cars around them. So Dr. Gray's now up into 10th place. He's got Hearts on the inside into Cops. Cookface and Spitfire Boy go side by side into Cop's corner as well, as Kick Sauber goes past, but now there's a 12.1 second margin. And who knows what? They're all basically out of the race unless we see another safety car. It's going to be the battle for the final point between all of them. As Hartz goes past Dr. Gray, there seems to be a little bit of contact that may just have been a bit of desync. But Polytron still leads. Dan's going to get the DRS again onto the Wellington straight, but he's going to be a little bit too far behind to make a move. The top 9 all still within DRS of one another, but I wouldn't imagine it will be too long until they do start to break apart. Especially there, you can see Magic starting to drop a little bit further back. He does fall out of the 1 second temporarily, but we'll try to get back into it. But that may be the first split of the DRS that we see from this top 9. But Polytron still leads, with Dan in second place, R34 in third. Let's check back in on what's going on lower down in the field as the Kick Sauber swap places with Spitfire Boy going past EJ into Brooklands. Goes a little bit wide and may have picked up a track limit warning for doing so. They all head their way around Chapel and onto the Hangar Straight. Again, just you can see the gaps. They're all just too far to make any places. The increased dirty air on the game just makes it so much harder to pass than it did before. Oh, yeah, there's a... Am I... Okay, OBS is... Oh, OBS just died. That's why Windows got weird. Okay. Yeah, the stream died on OBS. Yeah, so the Twitch stream's gone. Sorry if you're watching on Twitch, the stream's gone, and I can't really get that back, feasibly, so I'm just gonna put a thing probably after the race to say, stream died, go to YouTube. So that's annoying. Yeah, that's why Windows was making those noises at me. Okay. That's brilliant. But again, they're all just snaking their way through the first... through the middle sector. The gap's now up to 13 seconds, so they're still fighting. And it's just this gap in the field, this huge split. 14 seconds is the gap between Hart and Claudio. And you know, that gap's not going to go down anytime soon. Dan just following in the wheel tracks of Polytron. Again, no changes just yet. Oh yeah, this top 6 all as they were from the starting grid. Rocky up 1, Magic down 1, Claudio up 1. Seagain from whatever happened with Fuzzle on the opening lap, which sent him down the field and gave him that bit of front wing damage. Fuzzle's definitely with a chance of taking the final point in this race, but I don't think his hopes will go any or much further beyond that at this stage. As Liam Wilder has got past R34, who seems to be lagging around there, or possibly making a mistake. He got past temporarily. There goes Polytron and Dan side by side. They make contact through Brooklands. Dan gets sent spinning around, loses a couple of places, and Polytron races on in the lead. But now there's a 1.3 second gap from second to the leader. Now can Polytron pull away, and will he be penalised for that incident with Dan? I didn't see it, I just saw the aftermath of Dan spinning around. There clearly was contact as the Haas tried to get himself past. But again, the dirty air is bad enough that Liam Wilder can't get past. So now there's a 5-point difference between Liam Wilder and Mr. Business in this race, which will put, which will reduce the gap in the championship down to 7 points as Mr. Business tried to go for the move on Dan. Dan squeezed him to the outside, he touched the grass under braking, and round he went. And the championship leader just starts talking about the gap. He falls down to 9th, And all of a sudden, Liam Walder is in the net championship lead. So as things stand, he's going to take the lead of the championship by a point after 2 wins in a row and now on course for 3rd. Wow, it's all starting to kick off in this last couple of laps. So Mr. Business goes round at the Vale Chicane. He falls down to 9th. He's going to want to work his way back through with the help of his teammate, most likely. Rocky trying to set up a move on through the field. He's going to get a bit of a run, but it's nowhere near enough to go for a move down the old pit straight into Cop's corner. But what? But R34's losing out to Polytron now that he doesn't have the DRS. Polytron definitely seems to be the fastest driver in these... fastest driver at this stage. But will he get a time penalty for that contact with Dan? I don't know. I don't know. All I've seen is the aftermath of Dan spinning around. But Polydrom isn't going to be able to do anything. But yeah, how is this race going to continue to play out? With where Mr. Business is, he does send a lunge to the inside of Claudio. There seems to be a little bit of contact as he tries to find a way past. There's a yellow flag, and that's Cookface who's gone off at the final corner, rejoins the race, down in a 14th position. But it's not been the greatest of races from Williams so far. Mr. Business still frustrated behind Claudio. Going through the first sector, he's going to want to... Oh! Was that desync or did he actually hit him there? I can't quite tell. Claudio didn't seem to lose out too much from it though. But Mr. Business needs to find a way through if he wants to get himself then past Magic and then start working his way back through the field because he lost a lot of time from that spin. Because unlike Dan's spin, it was a full one. Oh, EJ's gone off! And hit the wall. That left field is a long way from the track. He's going to need to be careful here because there's not that much runoff. There's just a lot of gravel. He rejoins the race in last place with no front wing, having obviously spun into the wall there. Mr. Business goes past Claudio down the hanger straight into Stowe. And now he's going to follow after his teammate who shouldn't put up too much of a fight for him. They are actually teammates full time. Oh, going wide there. That's Om at the final corner. Rocky's not close enough to capitalise on it, though. As EJ now gets a 6-second... Either EJ is struggling to turn, or he's just given up at this stage, but he's making his way back towards the pit lane. Into the pits comes Cookface as well, possibly to retire the car. In comes EJ too. I think both. Maybe to retire the car? I assume EJ is. Yes, he is. EJ's retired on lap number 8. With the damage that he received, his race never looked like it was likely to recover. Cookface is making a tyre change. He seems to be continuing in the Grand Prix. He goes on to a set of hards, and that will most definitely be a 2-stop strategy for the Williams there. He's not going to go 18 laps on those hards. Or maybe he can. I doubt it, but maybe it's possible. It'd be quite a long way to go on one set of tyres. I don't actually know what the tyre wear's like at Silverstone on this game. I'd imagine it'll be a 2-stop though. He's gone onto a set of hards, so it is possible for him to go, obviously make that to the end. He doesn't have to stop again, but it's just he most likely will need to. Dan's trying to set up a move on Liam Wilder as they go through this first sector. Round the loop, he's not going to be close enough, most likely, to get the run down the Wellington straight. Although he's in the slipstream of the Mercedes. He's going to try the move to the inside into Brooklands, but he's not close enough. Liam Wilder goes a little bit deep though to leave the space on the inside as they go through Luffield. Again, there's no room for Dan to make the pass. The two Aston Martins going side by side into Luffield. Mr. Business forcing Magic to go the wrong way around. And he is going to take that place away. Mr. Business back up into 7th place. But he'll want to get himself... He's not going to make up that 2.5 seconds that he lost to Rocky. And then the 3.5 seconds from Om to Dan. That's what he lost with his spin, as well as the lasers. It's a lot of time. There's Om getting very sideways through. Chapel onto the hanger straight. Again, Limwater not close enough to go for a move on R34. He really seems to want to at this stage. Dan's got the run. He's going to try the move to the outside, but he was never realistically going to make that one work, especially considering what he saw happen to Mr. Business earlier on or just a few laps ago, as Dan runs wide at the final corner in the dirty air of the Mercedes. Is really quite strong on this game. Is Dan close enough? On this occasion, he's going to try and get the run, but he's not got it just yet. He will get the run onto the Wellington straight again. Is he closer on this occasion than on the previous lap? He seems to be. He's going to try the move on the inside again. And this time he gets himself ahead and moves up into that 3rd place. And will go chasing after R34 to move up into that 2nd again. And then we'll see potentially whether he can close in on Polytromp even. Dan moves up into 3rd place. Dr. Gray coming into the pit lane and emerges down in 13th place, but does also have that 3-second time bounty that he received earlier on in the day. Dan gets the run, gets the DRS on R34, which will pull him ever closer to that Racing Bulls, but he's not close enough just yet. It'll take him a couple laps to recharge the battery and do all that usual stuff before he's able to try and challenge for that 2nd place. Into the pit lane comes the Aston Martin of Mr. Business from 7th place. He's going to go early following the spin he had earlier on. He's going to go 4 instead of the hard tyres, one would imagine. A little bit under half race distance. On goes, instead of the white-walled, hard compound. He's done 10 laps on those tyres. He's gonna have to do 20. He's gonna have to do 16 on those hards. Should be doable, but we'll just have to see. And he emerges down in 10th place. He's gonna be close to where Fuzzle is, but he will stay ahead and on much fresher tyres as well. A little bit of a struggle to get them up to temperature, but Mr. Business should have that 10th place over Fuzzle pretty safely. Fuzzle's just going to be hanging out, hoping for a safety car, really, at this stage of the race. And maybe try and pull himself along with Mr. Business. But I'd imagine some of these guys are going to start thinking about the earlier pit stop, possibly even this lap, as Dan has a pit light on his dash. That doesn't guarantee he's coming into the pit lane, but it gives a good indication of when he might be considering it. He does come into the pit lane on lap number 11. Dan comes in, as does Liam Walder from 3rd and 4th positions on the circuit. Om and Rocky follow suit, the pair copying one another. And what can Dan do with this undercut? Can he get past R34? And can he put a dent in the advantage possessed by Polytron? So he emerges from the pit lane. They look so close to one another at this 80km/h speed limit. Oh no, 60 at Silverstone. As Mr. Business, with a 3-second time bounty for multiple warnings, goes off the track, loses the places as well. And Mr. Business falls down into 11th place as Fuzzle now gets up into 9th. He's going to go for the move on Spitfire Boy shortly. And what's the gap? It's 28 seconds from Dan to Polytron. About 26 was already lost in the pit lane. 25, 26 seconds at Silverstone. So we'll see what that gap becomes later on in the stint by the time Polytron comes into the pit lane. He's burning a lot of battery. I think this could be the in-lap from the Alpine now that the drivers around him have pitted as well. And in comes Polytron from the race lead, which is led from the very opening lap. He does stay comfortably below the speed limit as Cookface goes off through the first sector, will rejoin the race. Down still in last place. What can Dan do? Compared to Polytron and R34, can he get himself ahead of the pair of leaders? Spitfire's gone off through Magnus and Beckett's into Chapel, and he loses a couple of positions to Fuzzle, Mr. Business, and Claudio as well. Polytron reaches the end of the pit lane. He's going to be ahead of Dan. Will he stay ahead of Hearts? It's going to be close. I think the Williams is just going to have it. Hearts take the lead of the British Grand Prix as Dan moves up into third place. Liam Boulder takes fourth as R34 rejoins. Oh, and look, there is immediately on those gold tyres. He's not used to them, and now he's going to be at risk of falling behind Om as well. Kirkface. Oh. And Kirkface goes into the barriers, and that will be a safety car deployed on the circuit. I cut to him just as he's sliding off. And Hart now has the perfect opportunity to come into the pit lane. I fear that was intentional. It greatly benefits Fuzzle. And it greatly benefits Hart, who stayed out and can now come into the pit lane, and will be comfortably ahead of where he would have been otherwise. But now Dan has a perfect opportunity to close back up to Polytron, the pair who made contact earlier on in the race. Miss Business coming in as well is going to emerge down in 8th place. They're all the drivers slightly lower in the field have pitted again for a set of the medium tyres that will be faster over the remainder of the race. And they're going to catch right back up to the pack ahead of them. Haas in P6 is obviously the driver in front out of those on that strategy. And now after a few laps behind the safety car, should be in a lap or so's time. Wasn't really seen again. What's going on there with drivers changing? Oh, Magic's just teleported a long way back on the circuit, which doesn't seem ideal. Rocky's quite a way behind as well, and Spitfire's just had to give back that place. I don't know what's going on with this game anymore. But that being said, the safety car should be in. Magic's just gone all the way back again. Magic's lagging back about 10 seconds at once. Ooh, Spitfire are getting close to driving at the back of Fuzzle there. Safety car should be in at the end of this lap. And we'll have 10, 11 laps of racing remaining in the Grand Prix. 11 laps if it comes in at the end of this one. And we'll see what it's going to be like at the front. Can Polydrop hold off? Can Dan take that lead away? See, Liam Wilder at this stage, gaining 15 points to Mr. Business's 4, would put him a point behind in the championship fight. Safety car's still not in. We're going to get one extra lap under the safety car. Spitfire Boy has just driven into the back of someone and then coming into the pit lane very late in such a way that is normally not allowed. So that's not ideal. You're normally not meant to cross the pit lane white line, and he quite clearly did. Magic's has got a 10-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flag. He's up in 8th. Mr. Business has just been given a 10-second penalty for a collision with him. What on earth is going on at this? I don't understand what is happening. Now, Claudio's just been given a 10-second penalty, and Mr. Business has got a... So, until... What's just happened? My guess... Right, so Magic got a 10-second for ignoring yellow flag. Then Mr. Business got a 10-second for a collision with him. Then he got another 10-second for a collision with him. Then Claudia got a 10-second for ignoring yellow flag. I'm going to assume, if possible, all 30 of those, all 40 of those penalties are about to be removed after the race, if there's no more pit stops. As Magic's lagged back again. It's almost... Right, so Magic just is constantly lagging back, is a problem. Again, yeah. Magic's teleporting 10 seconds back. But Polydrop is controlling the safety car restart here in Silverstone. When is he going to go? The safety car's in this lap. Safety car has now reached the pit lane. Polydrop can go whenever he decides. He's most likely going to wait till the exit of Stowe. But Dan's right there behind him. Ready as we bolt. Oh no, we don't. It's just Dan going up to full throttle. I thought we had bolted. It's Polydrop's decision on when to bolt. That's a slightly suboptimal racing line. He's going to go. He's going late. He's leaving it very, very late. And he goes out of the final corner. And Dan chases after the race leader as they all go onto the pit straight, the Hamilton straight, and into turn number 1. Hart's on those medium tyres. He's going to be wanting to gain positions as quickly as he can. Forces Om into a move. On R34, there's contact, and Hart's can go through. On the inside, it's now 3 wide around the loop. There's R34 now gets ahead. Mr. Business getting himself ahead of Hearts as well. Side by side. Round entry. And onto the Wellington straight on the safety car restart. Mr. Business has the inside and will most likely get that place. There's a bit of desyncing again as they go slightly inside one another. But I think Mr. Business has that move done. But around Lutfield, Hearts is going to fight him back. Has that inside line. And can take the corner. Mr. Business goes off. Starts drifting his way down the field. Claudio's got tangled as well. And now Mr. Business falls down to 9th place. And again, the championship pendulum swings in Liam Wilder's favour as he goes off again at Gops. And now falls down to 10th, maybe into 11th place. As Fossil and Dr. Gray are going side by side through the Maggots, Beckett's into Chapel as Spitfire Boy goes past as well. But out front is Polytrump who leads still, with Dan holding on in his DRS for the time being. And Liam Wilder in third. Hearts now up into 5th place. Looking to challenge the top 4 on those medium tyres. Claudio's missing his front wing after the contact that happened, and he's going to fall right the way down the order as he comes into pit lane. Magic down in 13th is going to be struggling as well. It's the first lap of the race from Polytrump. But again, I don't think Dan's going to be close enough. With a 1.7 second advantage down to third though, Liam Wilder looks pretty much out of this fight. It's a straight duel between Dan and Polytrump at Silverstone. Dan looking to win his home race. Polytrump looking to get back towards the championship fight. Haas right there behind R34 looking to make up places as well. R34 possibly seems to have a bit of front wing damage on his right hand side. If that looks a bit... It is correct what I think I saw. Yes, it is. He's missing his right-hand end plate, and you can see the understeer from the Racing Bulls, and now Haas has a perfect opportunity to try and go past into Stowe. He's using all the battery that he's got. He pulls to the inside, and he's going to try and get that move done. He's got so much more grip. R34 goes drifting off the circuit, and Haas moves up into 4th place, and now goes chasing after Liam Wilder for that podium place. But again, the top 2, only 6 tenths apart, but 6 tenths apart might as well be a world in this race. Because you need to be so much closer than that if you want to be able to make the move in the DRS. Even with DRS, it's so much slower. There's far less business going side by side. The dirty air really does affect you at this circuit, but that's not stopping them, because they all have the same dirty air from one another. They've all got the same debuff. It all cancels out in the end. Fuzzle on the medium tyres. Moves past Dom and up into 6th place. And now he's got his teammate with damage up in front of him, who shouldn't pose too much of a threat to his charge, and will also be looking to take a podium place. You'd imagine R34 won't put up much of a fight at all, as they are teammates, and there is the damage that he has. Smith Business and Om going side by side through Maggots into Beckett's and Chapel. But again, the Aston Martin just isn't able to make the move, as there are the Racing Bulls together on the circuit, but Fuzzle isn't close enough to go for the move on his teammate, but you imagine he'll get ahead shortly, just so long as R34 doesn't lose the DRS in the meanwhile. Polytrump sets the fast lap of the race as he tries again to pull away from Dan. He gets the gap up to about 8 tenths per second, but then it comes down again down the straight. He just can't quite pull away, but Dan can't get close enough to make a move. Hart's quite close to the rear of Liam Wilder. He's going to try and set up a move onto the Wellington Straight on this occasion. He gets the run with the DRS and with the slipstream as well. Can he pull to the inside of the Mercedes? He might just be a little bit too far back. He's going to think about the move, but he never really got himself into a position to have a serious chance of going for it. But down the Hangar Straight, just wait. He will be there, as Om's starting to struggle and looking like he might just be about to fall out of the DRS and fuzzle up ahead of him. Although, as the gap gets down to 7 tenths, I think they will be okay. Haas within 3 tenths now of Liam Wilder as he follows them onto the Hangar Straight again with the DRS, and this time he might just be that little bit closer, and he pulled to the inside long before they get to the corner. Haas moves up into 3rd place and takes the podium away from Liam Wilder, and now the aim will be to pull away and break that DRS. Although Liam Wilder will serve as a nice buffer for the Williams. because he can hold off the fast and medium runners of Fuzzle and Mr. Business. Him and R34 just holding them behind, but Fuzzle isn't fast enough to really challenge R34 at this stage, which will be definitely helped by the DRS for the Racing Bulls. But now Liam Wilder has DRS, so maybe he can pull out of the DRS of R34 and break away. It's an interesting dynamic we're going to have in the remainder of this race, because will Hart want to keep Liam Wilder close behind him? Probably not, I'd imagine. But will he be forced to? It's the other question. Dan and Polytrump, again, just same piece of track, but they just can't fight because of the dirty air. They both go into none through Maggots and Beckett's, through Chapel. Then they accelerate away onto the hangar straight and start using it again. So in the background, Liam Wilder only 4 tenths behind Hart. Is he going to be close enough to fight back for that podium place? Yes, he is, round the outside. Into Stowe, there's the 2 Racing Bulls starting to think about fighting as well. Fuzzle seems to be getting quite racy here. And wanting to get past his teammates. He's going to think about the lunge. Into the chicane. R34 spins as he locks the rear wheels. And now Om's trying to find the gap to go past him. He spins round as well as he tried to find the gap on the inside, which I don't think ever really opened up for him. And Om spins down to 10th place. And that's his British Grand Prix pretty much concluded as Fuzzle moves up into P5, but he's out the DRS of Hart's ahead of him. Spitfire Boy now gets a 10-second time bounty for an illegal overtake on Om, even though Om was the one who brought out the yellow flag, and so that will likely be removed later on. Not the only bounty to be removed in this race, as Mr. Business barges his way past R34 as well. Through Brooklands and into Luffield, he gets that move done. But 1.1 seconds behind. Is he going to be too far? But R34 still fighting him down the old pit straight, holding him off for his teammates. And it's a solid defensive gunner. And that's the job being fulfilled by R34. He's going to want to get back in the DRS, but he's not going to be close enough. And that's going to give Mr. Business another opportunity to attack him again. But Fuzzle, with no DRS either, wasn't quite able to get back into the DRS of Hart up ahead of him. Hart's now saving his battery for the last couple of laps of the race, where he can hope to move past Liam Wilder. But R34 is now back into the DRS of his teammates, which will allow him to hold Mr. Business back that little bit better. It'll be so much harder for the Aston Martin to get past. And if Liam Wilder slows down enough, there's a potential for Fuzzle to catch back up to Hards, and then the two of them will be... Fuzzle's got damage as well on the right-hand side. As I believe, so does R34. That both Racing Bulls are coping with a little bit of damage at this stage on the same end of their front wing. They're both missing that right-hand side end plate of their wing. Now R34 and Mr. Business going side by side with the Vale chicane. R34 seems to just about be able to hold him off. And Mr. Business is going to have to try again. But he's really starting to get racy. And he wants a way through. But with 3 laps to go, it still seems that Dan's just going to be stuck behind Polytron. But there is the possibility that the Alpine gets a time bounty for the events earlier on in the race, which saw Dan spinning around. Liam Walder gets a 3-second time bounty for multiple warnings. And that seems to be his podium chances pretty much over. But he still is in a decent chance of P4, maybe P5. Depending on how the rest of this race pans out. At the moment, he's on course for P6. But if he can pull away with Hartz, he can get a P4 or a P5. But his chances for a podium seem to be pretty much over unless he can get one of those warnings removed. And when is Hartz going to decide to go for the move? I guess he's going to wait for the final lap. He's got a full battery, and it should be an easy move, really. It's a full battery versus 30%. Unless Liam Wilder spends the next 2 laps harvesting, which I don't think he will do, considering he's going to now want to pull away. I think Hartz is going to have this P3 pretty much secured. He's going to want to take it on track just to minimise risk. But again, on the penultimate lap, there's still no way through for Polytromp and Dan. Polytromp still leads them. And I don't think that's going to change, because they've both got very similar levels of battery. Liam Wilder in third is starting to pull away from R34. He's going to want to get that gap up from Fuzzle, about an extra 3/10, to try and get out of that time penalty window. But Fuzzle is going to see the penalty ahead and want to try to push to stay in it. But now is when it seems to be that he's just falling a little bit outside of it. I think Liam Wilder is going to have this P4 just because of the damage for the cars behind. Dan gets a 3-second time bounty for multiple warnings and starts drifting through the Bell chicane. And his very minimal chances of victory seem to have gone from minimal to nothing as the 2 Racing Bulls go side by side into the Bell chicane with that's R34 on the inside, gets squeezed out. Mr. Business trying to go right the way around the outside. It's a move he's attempted before. R34 comes him off again. They somehow both stay on the racetrack going into turn 1. And Mr. Business is forced to back out. Not for the first time in this race. And definitely, maybe for the last time, as they go on to the final lap. R34 drifts as he gets it stopped. But can Mr. Business challenge Racing Bulls for that 6th place? I don't think he will. As Haas moves past Liam Wilder with quite a lot of ease, with that huge battery difference. He's got an extra 40% still, which he can dump on the remaining straights. And I think Haas is going to have this P3. And Liam Wilder has the time bounty as well. But Hart is going to have it on the road. Polytromp still got the advantage. He's led pretty much every lap of this Grand Prix. Apart from the one where he pitted and fell behind Hartz for 1 lap he was behind Hartz for. As Dan goes wide at the final corner at Stowe, he knows he has to try something. Round the last couple of corners they go. And Polytromp is back. Takes his 2nd win of the season. As he wins the British Grand Prix with Dan coming home in 2nd place. It's going to be Hartz in 3rd. And Liam Wilder takes home 4th place to really strengthen that title challenge. Fuzzle's going to come home P5 with R34 and P6. Mr. Business 7th across the line. But with a hefty penalty that will most likely be removed, he goes tumbling down the order as it's going to be 9th in the provisional results. But it could well be a 7th place reinstated. Dr. Ray takes that 10th place, which may or may not stand. Magic comes across the line, and Claudio will be the final driver to cross it. George is going to be the final driver across the line. And it's just... You can tell they've made the dirty air more. But... Polytrump wins. The British Grand Prix. Driver of the day goes to Hart. Motor overtakes as well. Cleanest driver, apparently, was Polytrump. I don't actually know what it judged it based off. But that was the British Grand Prix. And yeah, the game gave driver of the day to Hart. 16th to 3rd. It's quite an obvious choice. Wait, thank you for watching the stream. Polytrump takes his second win of the season, but Dan gets the fastest lap in the end. Will we see you next week, or is there a week of break? Let me just check that. I believe there's a week's break. Indeed there is. We've got 1 week off. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time for the Japanese